Her name was Thira, and she was the tallest creature I had ever seen. 12 feet of muscle and grace. Midnight blue skin that shimmered under starlight. Silver eyes that glowed when she was deep in thought. And arms that could lift a hover truck with one hand. She was a member of the Skarnai, a reclusive species known for their size and strength. They lived atop the crystal mesas of Miravel 9, building cities of glass and steel that stretched into the clouds. Our envoy had been sent to establish relations. I was the bridge engineer assigned to the mission, the guy responsible for designing the literal platforms and walkways that would let our team interact with the Skarnai in their vertical cities. The first time I met Thira, she was silent, looming, watchful. Her people rarely spoke, and when they did, it was with careful deliberation. I offered a hand in greeting. She looked at it for a long moment, then extended one finger to tap my palm. That, I would later learn, meant acknowledgement without offense. We worked side by side for weeks. She was assigned to guide me through the terrain. Her knowledge of the Mesa Ridges was unmatched, and she moved with the certainty of someone born to walk along ledges high above the world. At first, she kept her distance, always staying precisely 4 steps away, never looking me directly in the eyes, never speaking unless absolutely necessary. But I noticed things. She would slow down if I struggled with altitude. She would angle her body against the wind when I shivered. She would hum, softly, barely audible, whenever we stopped for rest. And then one day, when we reached a gap I could not cross, she knelt, offered her palm, and lifted me without a word, her touch gentle, her grip secure. I said, "Thanks. You could just throw in a rope." She looked at me and said quietly, "Then I would not have held you." It was the first time she said something personal. After that, things changed. She began speaking more, asking questions about Earth, about me, about how humans could live without touching the clouds. She told me the Skarnai had a custom. They built bridges only for those they trusted. True bridges, ones that connected not just land, but hearts. No one has ever built me a bridge. She said one night, not even among my people. Why not? Because, she said, I am too large, too strong, too much. I looked at her, at this towering, beautiful being, who had carried me across storms, defended me from sky leeches, guided me without complaint. And I said, maybe they just didn't know how. She tilted her head. And do you? I nodded. I can learn. That was the night I started building. Not a physical bridge, but something more. I sketched by starlight, mapped out a platform that would hover at her eye level, designed a walkway that adjusted with her stride, made the supports look like Skarnai bone to reflect her people's heritage. I worked in secret, with stolen hours and borrowed tools. And one day, when the light hit just right, I led her to the edge of a high ridge, where a new path stretched across the gap. Wide, strong, ornate. She stared. I said, I built this one for you, not just to stand on, but to remind you, you're not too much, not too big, not too strong. You're exactly enough. She turned to me, eyes wide, voice shaking. You built a bridge for me. I nodded, from my heart to yours. She stepped forward, slow, careful. Then she knelt, wrapped her arms around me like I was the most delicate thing in the universe. I felt her heartbeat, steady, thunderous. She whispered, no one has ever dared hold me before. They feared I would break them. I pulled back enough to look into her eyes. Try me. She smiled. That night, we sat at the edge of the bridge, watching the sky shift to violet. She told me her story, how she had grown faster than the others, how even the elders had feared her strength, how she had learned to walk lightly, speak softly, stay distant. I told her mine, how I had always been the small one, overlooked, talked over, the boy with big ideas and no one to listen. She said, then we are both too much for others, but maybe not for each other. After that, she was different, not smaller, never that, but warmer. She carried my tools without asking, painted my name in Skarnai glyphs on her arm, showed me the city's hidden gardens, the singing caves, the floating crystals that resonated with emotion, and always we met at the bridge I built. One day, she brought a piece of black stone, hard as star metal, and said, "This is a Skarnai vow token. If you accept it, we are bound." I said, "Only if you take mine too." I gave her a simple copper ring, handmade, bent from wire. She took it like it was sacred. I wore her token on my chest. She wore the ring on a cord around her neck. We were not traditional, but we were real. When the mission ended, I was offered reassignment. I turned it down. Earth had its gravity, but Miravel had Thira. And Thira, with her strength and her silence and her thunderous heart, was home. She held my hand as we stood atop the final bridge I ever built and said, "I once feared I would crush love if it ever came too close. But you, little builder, you stood and built toward me anyway." I smiled. "You're worth the climb."